This is a second generation Ford Ranger. The first generation was made from 1982 to 1983 to 1992, and then the second generation from 1993 onwards, I believe, to 97. Then they had a facelift, went on to 2001. So this is a Ranger XLT. Had three different motors. You had the 2.3 liter inline 4, and then you had the V6 3.0 liter, and then the top of the line 4.0 liter V6. So this is a basic model with a stick shift. There was also a series of optional automatic transmissions that came with the Ford Ranger. It was actually a small pickup, a compact pickup, and this particular one has a problem with the clutch mechanism. As you can see in there, it's got two cup holders. It seats 3. Interior is pretty good for the age of the vehicle. Below there you have the hood latch, and as you can see, I can touch the pedals, push it with just one finger, slow it down for you to show that it has no resistance, so it just goes flat to the floor using one finger. So there is most likely our problem, meaning some air has gotten into the clutch mechanism. So we'll open up the hood. It's latched on there pretty good. You have to play around with it a little bit, and boom, got it open. So here you can see the 2.3 liter engine. This vehicle is also was made as a Mazda B series truck, compact truck. Apart from the grille and the badge on the side, it's exactly the same vehicle as the Ford Ranger. There you can see the timing belt. The cover is not in place. And one thing particular about this engine is that it has 8 spark plugs, 4 on each side. Just a higher level of redundancy, just like you would see in aircraft engines. But make no mistake, it's still a small block inline 4. As you can see, engine has seen better days, but with upkeep, these trucks, they run forever. Well-known and documented problem with these Ford Rangers is the clutch mechanism getting some air, and when it does, you step on the master cylinder, the slave won't release the throw-out bearing, to move the clutch from the engine, separate the engine from the transmission. So that's where you find your the clutch fluid. It's right there. This particular one is empty, which seems to be where my problem comes from. And it's quite difficult to see from this position, but the way the master cylinder leaves the cabin of the car, it goes pointing downwards. If you look at the bottom right of your screen, you might see it. It points downwards. So what it does is it makes an air bubble to get caught up at the very top portion, and that's very difficult to bleed out. But in this video, we're gonna do bleed the whole clutch system, and it's a very easy and straightforward method I will use. There I'm just checking the oil. There is enough oil, but it looks dirty. So the vehicle will be having an oil change soon. Put that back in there. And just take a quick tour of the engine. On top of the cylinders, you can see that's where you put the oil if you have to top off the oil level, right there on top of the crankcase. That's for the coolant. It's a little bit low. We'll need to top it off. It has an old school type of fan. That fan has a clutch. So depending on the temperature in the engine compartment, the clutch will slowly engage the fan as the temperature rises. When it's cold, it just spins almost freely. And there you have the type of fluid that is needed. It's a .3 fluid, hydraulic fluid. So there you go. That's a .3 brake fluid, synthetic. Open it up and top off our clutch reservoir. It was totally bone dry. And that's the brake fluid reservoir. Already you can see some bubbles coming out as the fluid makes its way down. Top it off. And now comes the fun part. So underneath the vehicle, on the bell housing for the transmission, right there on the driver's side, you can see the bleed screw for the slave cylinder. It's actually housed in the bell housing. So I will use a 5/16 wrench and just ever so gently crack that bleed screw. Not all the way out, because the objective is to have it cracked to the point where when you apply pressure on the pedal, it pushes out the fluid, but not open to the point where when you pull the pedal back, it sucks in air. So I crack it open, and then I'll jump right in and pump, 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 pump. You have to do it between 200 to about 500 times, and most of the air will be gone. After everything is done, then you can go ahead and close that little bleed valve or bleed screw. And here I get the vehicle started, and you can see now I can shift through all the gears with the engine running. The whole process took about 30 minutes. Give yourself enough time when you're pumping on the clutch pedal. At times you might feel the resistance building up, but don't shout out victory yet. You still have some ways to go. So you just have to keep at it until you do have about 500 cycles of pumping. And every so often stop, go to the reservoir and make sure that it's topped off. You don't want to introduce any new air bubbles as you bleed out the system. And here you can see I took it out for a short test drive. The clutch works flawlessly and through all the gears. So this is a simple, straightforward procedure, but you can make it as complicated as you want or as simple as you want. I thought I had to remove the whole clutch mechanism but I did not. So it took just a few minutes, and here I am with the Ranger moving, driving without issue. Remember, the goal is to get fresh synthetic brake fluid .3 and just crack the bleed nut, and you'll be able to get your Ranger on the road without much trouble. Thanks for watching. See you guys on the next video.